Yeah, I do think that I don't think that publishing, like the publishing option on LinkedIn is very good. I don't think in my own personal experience with it has been, for whatever reason, I don't understand why, because it seems like, there's sites like Medium and elsewhere where you essentially, can have a blog without building a blog. And LinkedIn publishing seems like the natural choice for that, but it just doesn't seem to get any distribution. People aren't looking at those articles. If I write I might write a text post that gets 15,000 views. If I wrote an article via publishing, it might get 150 views. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to get the distribution. So on balance, I would say this: if you have a blog, it doesn't hurt to then republish that blog content on LinkedIn as an article.
Got it.
I mean, you might do both. Between the two, I guess because the LinkedIn publishing gets such poor distribution, I mean, I would say maybe building your own platform as a blog or looking at a third-party platform like Medium might be a good way to go. I mean, my recommendation on this is always, there's a third option, which I think is oftentimes overlooked, and I think is really accessible right now to many people, which is if you're going to be writing longer form content, meaning, the 1,200 word blog post or something, look for opportunities to publish that content on third-party websites, which have already curated the audience you're trying to seek. So for example, I write monthly columns there's a site called Attorney at Work in the United States. I mean, obviously it's accessible everywhere, but it's one where they've got a big audience of lawyers, and they send out, and I've written a monthly column for them for like the last 7 years. And I also write a monthly column for Law.com, which is the sort of the publishing company that does American Lawyer and a lot of the large U.S. Legal industry focused publications. And I could have that content on my own blog. I could have that content on, as a LinkedIn article. But, Law.com, the audience they have curated, which is all of the people that I want to reach, is pretty massive. So I'm just leveraging their audience in order to get my content in front of more people. And there's a benefit to it too, which is that type of content is subject to a gatekeeper. There's an editor who has to approve that content, that kind of thing. So you get the kind of the reputational boost from having content published by a third party. It's seen as maybe more valuable than if you were just self-publishing that on your blog. I don't know if that's always deserved or not, but that's the way people perceive it. Now, it's more of a challenge because you do have to get past a gatekeeper. You do have to find those publishing opportunities. But within every legal practice niche, I think there's, say you're focused on serving a particular industry, like the pharmaceutical industry, and you're doing, transactional or litigation work for that industry. There's probably some trade association or industry group that has its own conferences, publishes its own newsletter, maybe has its own website, that kind of thing. And if you're focused on that industry, you very well might be able to find publishing opportunities to get your longer form content in front of their audience. And it's much more valuable in many respects than having your own blog. I think it's not necessarily an either or, answer to this question.
I
looking
agree.
at you need to have some platform somewhere, something that you own that you can take with you. You can, people can find you. So that might be your blog, but then you need to go out and find where your audience is. Because if you're just, again, passive and sitting back and waiting for an audience to grow on some platform you've built, you're going to be waiting a long time because it's hard to build an audience.
I agree.
So again, leverage or take advantage of the audiences that have already been curated by, the markets that you're trying to serve.